Welcome to JC Sports, Detroit Lions News podcast on the JC Sports YouTube page. We're gonna have content rolling all week long. So subscribe, rate, review, like the video. Will keep you entertained. Obviously, there's a lot of Detroit Lions content that's gonna be coming out this week. We got a couple podcasts coming out this week, so that'll be fun. But let's talk about what I wanted to talk about today: the impact of Alex Anzalone. Because when we talk about Alex Anzalone and we talk about what he does for this defense, because last week he came back after being hurt with a broken arm. And you could see a dramatic difference in the way this team plays. Now, it wasn't just the way that they played in the red zone, it wasn't the way that they played in certain areas. It was more the communication. And to be honest, I didn't have the time to go back and look over every game and show you snippets of when there was miscommunication. But when I go back and look at it, there was a lot of miscommunication at various levels of this season, especially with Alex Anzalone out. You were talking about the 2 games against Caleb Williams. There was a lot of miscommunication with the linebackers. And Jack Campbell, he's a great player. He's one of the top Pro Football Focus grade linebackers this year. He had an issue. He can't do it all. You know, you need 2 linebackers and out there, and unfortunately for the Detroit Lions, they lost Rodrigo, they lost Derek Barnes, and they lost Alex Anzalone. So you're down to the nitty-gritty of your linebackers, and at a point, sometimes your talent level kind of shows its place, but where it really showed was the leadership and knowing where to be at the right time. And one thing you notice going back to last week, he was barking out commands to the secondary, to the defensive line, getting people in the position. That is the impact of Alex Anzalone. But as we see this Detroit Lions team play the Washington Commanders this weekend, they're going against a guy in Jane Daniels who is a stud. I picked him for Rookie of the Year, but I didn't think he was going to be this good. Jane Daniels has been absolutely phenomenal. And when you think about Jane Daniels, he's efficient. He can run the ball. He can make the crisp passes. And I told people going into the draft, a lot of people argued with me, especially at the draft. I told a couple Bears fans that Jayden Daniels is going to be the best quarterback in this draft. And they're like, no way, no way, no way. And I was like, I'm telling you, watch out. Jayden Daniels is the truth. I think that the Chicago Bears, if they would have picked him, I would have been a little bit more scared of the Chicago Bears. But, I'm not really scared of Caleb Williams. I think he's a really talented kid, but he's not Jayden Daniels. So Jayden Daniels is special. Um, so we go back to it and we go back to Jayden Daniels and what he can do to a defense. Obviously, he's a very crisp passer. He can make all the passes that you need out of your rookie quarterback. But the one thing that separates Jayden Daniels from other quarterbacks is his ability to run. Now, he is not a big guy at all. He's like a 185. He weighs 185 or something like that. He's a smaller guy. So if you get a stick on him, you're gonna get them. But he does a good job at getting down. He's smart. He's very cautious of where he is, and I think he's one of the smartest quarterbacks that's came out in a while. I mean, truly, like the way he plays the game in the fourth quarter is unbelievable. So here's a snippet from Dan Campbell, just to give you a clue of what Dan Campbell thinks of Jane Daniels.
Jayden Daniels obviously has been a big part of their turnaround. Can you just talk about the challenge he presents at quarterback?
He is dangerous. He's dangerous. He poses a major threat. He does not play the position like a rookie quarterback. He's composed. He understands how to progress. He sees the field well. He can buy time with his legs. He's a dangerous runner. He's smart. He's smart. You can tell he understands how to run that offense, what they're asking him to do. And then he's got weapons. He's got weapons around him. I mean, his receiver's pretty dang good. 17's a hell of a player, He's got a good back. He's got more than one receiver. Ertz at tight end. I mean, they've got weapons. The O-line plays hard. But he's a difference maker.
So, Dan Campbell says he's a difference maker. We all know that he's a difference maker. So let's talk about Alex Anzalone on the opposite side of that. Because if you go and you look at the raw stats of this team against running quarterbacks that can really hurt you in the run game. Now, not many teams are great at defending the running quarterback. There's certain teams that can do a really good job at it, but it's very fanatical. It's not something that you just like. It's not a game plan that you just. Do you put a spy there? No, because you're trying to get a couple people to the ball, not just one. And if you put one person as a spy, I mean, especially with a guy like Lamar or Josh Allen, it's not going to work in your favor. So Jayden Daniels is the same way. So here's something, a little snippet for Detroit Lions fans. So you see, Kyler Murray got 5 for 45. Geno Smith got 5 for 38. Baker Mayfield got 5 for 34. But then look at these asterisks that are there. Rhett Richardson, Caleb Williams, Josh Allen, Caleb Williams again. Now, the Anthony Richardson game, I believe that was the last game that Alex Anzalone played on the road, if I'm correct. I might be missing it. But you can see that a lot of these quarterbacks, what they're doing is they're a lot of their times they're going out there and they're running the ball and they're making it an emphasis. And I look back at the Indianapolis Colts game. Jonathan Taylor didn't have a great game at all. But you look at this again. I mean, Caleb Williams, that was no Alex Anzalone game. Josh Allen, that was a game. I'll tell you what, when you watch that Josh Allen game, he recognized that there was people that were miscommunication all over the football field, and he would take off. Now, the issue with running quarterbacks is this. If you leave a little sliver of the defense that is vulnerable, they will beat you down the pipe. Now, a guy like Lamar, he could take that ball and run with it. He's like a running back. Josh Allen's the same way. Jayden Daniels a little bit different. He's kind of like Caleb Williams in that regard, where they pick their poison. Um, Another guy like that is Geno Smith. Kyler Murray, he's more of a running quarterback. This series was not, and 5 for 45 was not one of his best games as a Cardinal. And obviously, Detroit's allowing 6.2 yards per carry from the quarterback position. So when you think about the impact of Alex Anzalone, you think about two things. One, Alex Anzalone is going to be able to get his team in the right direction and try to figure out, okay, let's get on the same page, let's be more communicative, and let's try to figure this out. You're going to give up runs to Jayden Daniels. There's no doubt about it. He's gonna break off one. He's that good. And with these quarterbacks that run, you're really not looking to stop them. You're looking to limit them. That is the key. Limit the way they run the ball. If you can limit them, you'll be fine. If you can if you just let them go hog wild and they can do what they want to do, you're gonna have a rough game. But he's averaging 6 yards per rush. So it's going to be interesting. But Alex Anzalone being for the defense for the Detroit Lions is a very big, huge step for this team because they needed a guy who was going to get this team on the right path. They needed a guy who was going to be the leader back there in the linebacker court. Now I love Jack Campbell, and he can't do it all by himself. I mean, this is a team game. When you look at football, it is 11 men that have to be on the same page, and if you're not, it's going to end up in your end zone. And we've seen last Sunday this Detroit Lions team do really good in the red zone. They clamp down. That is where you're probably going to win this game. If you're going to be honest, this is where you're going to win this game because you don't have the luxury or the ability to have more talent than the Commanders due to your injuries. So you're going to have to win in the red zone. And your your offense is going to have to be your best defense because the way the Commanders won against the Buccaneers was a one-time possession. And if you go back over the Commanders' wins, usually when they win, it's because they win time of possession. When they lose time of possession. That's usually the way this rolls. I think there's only 2 games this year where they lost the time of possession and still won the ball game. One was against the Giants and one was against the Bears. So if you're if you're being honest with yourself, you're not the Bears and you're not the Giants. So you don't have to worry about that. So you have a good run game. Your defense is going to they're going to need the run game to help them out, keep the Washington defense on the field. But when the Washington offense is on the field, just know that the impact of Alex Anzalone coming back to this defense is going to be felt. Obviously, we felt it last week, but this week you're going to feel it even more because this is a guy in Jayden Daniels who is dangerous. As Dan Campbell said, he's a dangerous guy who can put you in rare positions. He's kind of like Lamar in a way, but I think he's the guy that doesn't like to run as much as Lamar likes to run. So that's got something going for you. But even like these screen passes that they do to Eckler, or just the random runs that they do with Brian Robinson, there's a lot of things that Alex Anzalone is going to help this team do in this game, and it's going to be an interesting way to look at this game this Saturday. What do they do in times where uh, we're in third down? Because we all know Detroit has had a good third down defense. But if we're going to be honest with ourselves, the reason the Commanders won against the Buccaneers was third down. They were more efficient than the Buccaneers. So that is where it's all going to go. Dan Quinn, the Commanders head coach, has shown that he will go for it in certain situations. I have the clip, but it didn't process. But he said basically he'll go for it on fourth down because he knows that Jayden Daniels will make the right play, and he'll make it with his feet or his arm. And yesterday, if you saw the Commanders game, there was a play where Jayden Daniels rolled out to the right, and he basically ran outside the pocket. There was the edge control wasn't there, and he threw a pass right over the middle on a dime to Zach Ertz. It was a great pass, and that's what Jayden Daniels is capable of. So if you're Detroit, the reason Alex Anzalone is a huge portion of this game is because he will get the players in the right position to succeed. He's a very communicative guy, and you needed another one of those guys in your linebacker core because you're really missing guys like that. Obviously, when you lost Derek Barnes and you lost Malcolm Rodriguez and you lost Alex Anzalone, that was where this defense kind of fell from the wayside. But here they are in the playoffs. Again, a rookie quarterback's coming into Ford Field. This is a way different situation that he's going to be played in Tampa, where they were chanting MVP at the end of the game. There's no chance that there's going to be that many Commanders fans. So this is going to be a test for Jayden Daniels, but this is going to be a test for the Detroit Lions because, as I said yesterday, if in fact they do go and play Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, this will be a good test for them. If in fact they go to the Super Bowl and they play a Lamar, they play a Josh Allen, they play a Patrick Mahomes, this will be a great test for them and a great way for Aaron Glenn to realize what works and what doesn't work. And if I'm gonna go back, if I would say there's something on tape that shows you what can work, it was when Pittsburgh played the Commanders. They did a pretty damn good job of keeping him hemmed in the pocket, and he had a pretty uh, subpar game. So Aaron Glenn has to put the right pieces together, and if he does, this team is going to be fine. But ultimately, what it's going to come down to is communication, staying in your rush lanes, and not allowing them to make a Jayden Daniels type play out of nothing. That's where you will get in trouble. So we have more on Detroit Lions News Podcast, JC Sports, here on the YouTube page. But follow all the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter, and TikTok, and we'll keep you entertained throughout the rest of the week. We'll have 2 podcasts, one with Walter Stringer, one with Spirit Detroit. We're also going to have a collaborative podcast with some of the Commanders guys. So we'll do that. I'll release the names relatively soon. But thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video to talk more Detroit Lions football here on JC Sports YouTube page and Detroit Lions News Podcast.